Hello everyone, today's wellb Live we have Mauro Clerici, and he will be speaking with us about some new modalities for me, and we'll explore different therapies that you can add into your wellness routine. So let me hand it over to Mauro to introduce himself.
Hi guys, how you doing today? So my name is Mauro. I have a background in health coaching, and I do some other little cute tricks, and recently I like to call myself a personal healer. I hate to say I don't heal people, but I do give them the opportunity to heal themselves,
Yes.
Which is very important to notice the difference, you know. So I don't claim myself to be a doctor or a wizard, but I use a few advanced technology and modalities that help people get in touch with themselves from the inside out and from the outside inside, inward, and they allow themselves to jumpstart their self-healing process.
Excellent. So I know I've spoken with Mauro before, and I know he does a variety of modalities, and one thing that I always find fascinating with wellness practitioners is that they oftentimes have different trainings and different experiences. So I think a good question would be, what got you on this healing journey to be a healing facilitator for others?
I think I always had the desire to make people feel better, but I never knew how. So for the past half of my life, 3/4 of my life, I've been in computers and electronics, and my career was in ad technology until not long ago, and then I had a moment in my life where I realized that I wanted to pursue my true self, and so I said, I thought the office was a bit too confined for myself, and I wanted to be healthy, and I wanted to create my own rules in the office, and obviously it wasn't possible within the environment. So I studied health coaching, so I got a certification from IIN, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and I learned how to manage some of our lifestyles and food educational routines with food, right? Using food, and just when I was closing the certification, actually the same day I took the final exam of the IIN certification course, I signed up. I was in Chicago. I was taking this 2-day trial on this new technology, 50-year-old new technology coming from Germany. Really a blink of an eye, universe time. Relative new. And I signed up to a new course, and I became also a esogetics colorpuncture therapist, and that really changed the game to the whole thing. So I'm sure you're gonna ask me, what is colorpuncture?
Of course.
So
yeah. Well, like I said, it's these different stepping. So no, but I think part of how those things enter on our journey is very interesting as well. So that's why I like to ask that question of like the personal, like what was your path, and how did you get redirected? Like you said, you were working in technology, and clearly, technology is booming too. So it's not like you needed to leave that industry because you left that industry for your own personal desire, right? And not only did you want to get yourself healthier, but then you see another path in health and wellness in which you can pursue. And I'm familiar, of course, with Institute for Integrative Nutrition and their course, and pretty much when you get engaged in a program like that, it kind of opens different paths up, right? It gives you a framework on how you can start perceiving your own wellness and how to talk about and work with others regarding their wellness. So it sounds like you had that part of your journey, and then it opened you up to the next stage.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a little heartbreak in between. There was a little, a little need of self-healing, and I'm an individual that can be very resourceful when in need, and so I was looking for a way out to feel better, to get better, and to get my life more sustainable. So I didn't want to abide to the 9 to 5, clock watch routine. I didn't want to abide to using the microwave to eat. I didn't want to abide to the white light of the office. I didn't want to abide to the stale air environment of an indoor space. And although the changes are possible to be made within the office environment, I wanted to break free in order to start from scratch on my own accord, and then start teaching people that it is possible also in that environment change little things to make the experience more pleasant. Mm-hmm. So that was my kind of like my break free moment where I was like, no, I need to reinvent my life as I want to live it. Mm-hmm. How I feel is sustainable, how I feel like, and therefore, of course I never felt better, mm-hmm. like I do now. So yeah. I definitely did a good move.
Yeah.
Nothing against office jobs, obviously. It's just like a choice, a personal choice that at some point you do or you do not do in your life. And honestly, I hope in the future the office environment, take consideration of all of these aspects, because otherwise, why do we work?
Yeah. No, it's true. And like you said, some people, those environments are fine. Like those environments doesn't hinder their productivity or
exactly
affect them in an adverse way personally, right? So there's the professional element as well as the personal element, and that's what's cool about when I sit and talk with different wellness practitioners, because many of them have that moment where they just see that they not only want to change careers or open new doors with their wellness career, but they need to make those personal changes as well to their own lifestyle. So it sounds like you did that in a big way. And so when you did that, what do you think was the most pivotal change for you during that time?
The realization that you mean like quitting?
Yeah, or like well, you just said the word realization, so it's almost like what came to me was like when you started seeing, right, you did it, you made the decision, but what was like that first moment maybe, or something that changed that you're like, oh, this was the right decision to make? Did you have like one of those moments that you can recall, or was it gradual?
No, it was progressive. Yeah, it was progressive. I think overall it was the realization though of the more I got back my time and my space and my routines, and the more I felt empowered in doing so much more than what I was required to do. Mm-hmm. So thankfully, after working on corporate for more than 10 years, I started working for startups. And to give credit to some part of the industry, the digital industry, startups are already evolving now into different animals, the corporate is, so they give you a bit more space. So I was able to biking to work, without anyone complaining I was sweaty or.
So there was a segue.
There was a transition, and that transition, little by little, didn't change the way I felt. Like I wanted more and more, but it allowed me to understand whether it was a good direction or not. And then one day I just decided to do it full time because that made sense for me.
Yeah. Excellent. So all right, let's go back to the moment where you graduated from Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and then a new door opened up. And I remember you mentioning the word esogetics.
Yeah.
Can you describe that a little bit?
Absolutely. So the company, the person who, the modality that I decided to continue study is called colorpuncture. And it's colorpuncture because it's almost recall the word acupuncture, right? In fact, in colorpuncture we use a lot of the same acupoints. The acupuncture uses some meridians for the most, but the main application is not a needle. So this application is painless.
Yeah, so people who have fear of needles, this might be your modality.
It's painless, it's pain-free, it's non-invasive, and yet very powerful, and use colors and lights, which elders, older and younger people love, among others. And me, because I hate needles. And esogetics is the name invented by the founder of colorpuncture, Peter Mandel. That means esoterics and energetics. And that is because colorpuncture originated from knowledge from both ancient knowledge from million years or 1,000 years ago. So colors were used back to at the times of the Egyptians, for example. They were using colors to heal patients, and then he takes knowledge from biophysics or neurogastroenterology or physiognomy or iridology, and I can go on, and he takes anything from the east to the west, and that captured my attention because similarly to what we do in IIN, right, where Joshua Rosenthal, the founder of IIN, takes knowledge from wherever it makes sense, and he makes it an holistic science. Mm-hmm. Colorpuncture did the same. He took anything medical that made sense, that resonated empirically and by research, and he puts it together, and then he studied hundreds of clients. Don't quote me on this, I don't have the right number, so please don't. But a lot of, I've been to his studio in Germany, and that's what he does all day, and his science evolves, and he has teachers all over the world that, teach other practitioners like me. So
yeah, it's interesting, right? We live in times that I think we've seen the pendulum swing to, especially with diet, right? There's people that they choose a specific diet, and that diet speaks to them or it works well with their body, but then you kind of get tunnel vision. So I think what we learned at Integrative Nutrition and what happens with a lot of holistic wellness practitioners is that you get to see all different theories. Mm-hmm. And you say, all right, what am I trying to work on myself, or what do I want to work on with clients? And then you get to take pieces of all these other theories to work on the whole body. So that's like the version of holistic health in how you can approach it. As opposed to, some people are very healthy and could have a holistic mindset, but their approach, theoretically, their approach is more narrow, right? They find a specific theory that works well for them, and either can work. I think, what I learned working with clients is that you can tell them different theories, but if that doesn't fit into their style or what they're trying to do, then that's fine. But why not take advantage of all this other research or all these other theories?
Absolutely.
And I think in these newer modalities, they're taking advantage of that.
Absolutely.
And for some people, it's a little overwhelming. And they're like, wait, that's from this and that's from here. And it's just like, but somebody's bringing it all together. Mm-hmm. And then there's a methodology to it. And then you see if that methodology works for you.
Absolutely, yeah. So we live in a very polarized society. Mm-hmm. Where we're used to be told this is wrong, this is right, this is black, this is white, this is harmful, and this is not harmful. But the reality is that reality is not, it's not like that. There is tonalities of colors, and there is grays colors, and there is, the truth sits in the middle. So when we are told that kale is the only salad that we need to eat, or that that's a problem, because we go back to polarized reality, mm-hmm. where one thing is fits all, as you said, and it's not. It does not fit for everybody. And the other point is that the thing that I'm learning is that food is only one element that is part of a health, of a state of health, right? Mm-hmm. Food is just one aspect of it. But I don't want to steal your
No, but
segue,
food is a great food is a great place to start, because I think, like I was saying, especially in terms of in the U.S. and mainstream, I'm probably other countries as well, but definitely in the U.S. with mainstream videos and knowledge and books, it is this. You see the pendulum swinging again. It went to this all specified theoretical diet to how can you combine those things, like more drifting toward lifestyle, right? And say, okay, you have a particular lifestyle that you have, or right a behavior, how you want to behave in your life, and then what diets can support that. Mm-hmm. So it gives people a little bit more room to explore the possibilities. And I think for some people that's an overwhelming process. So it's like, right, because they did go from being narrow focused, and then when it broadens, then
sure. I mean, for some people, being healthy is still grilled turkey and whole wheat bread, mm-hmm. and and it's yeah, it's I mean that's the
doesn't sound very colorful.
That's the personal reality.
Getting back to color, right? Like there's color in foods, and then I also, when you were talking about color, I was thinking like of the chakras. So there's like just going to something like that, to just doing that simple analysis of like, wow, there's not a lot of color in my life. So then saying, oh well, the color is the spectrum, right? It's adding more things. Like, what are you missing? So approaching your health and wellness from that point of view, and that's where like I was thinking, like with this kind of discussion, it's just like, oh, I do realize a lot of people, they'll have one or two modalities that they try, like their go-to modalities, just like they have their go-to mm-hmm. grilled chicken salad, Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, you've been doing that for a while and you've maintained that works for you. What's the next thing that you want to do right now? Mm-hmm. So like, right, how do you broaden? So when you work with clients, are they already aware that you do the color puncture as a modality, or is that something that you introduce to them?
So it works in different ways. I usually clients come in directly for color puncture. They just want to lay on a bed and be relaxed and feel grounded, and or they're cold, kind of like being reset, their lymphatic system being drained, or they have like a chronic or acute pain somewhere. Or they come in because they want food advice. And what I do is I help them personalize their path by trying to bring the people that come for food. I try to mix their personalized program with some elements of color puncture. And the people that come in for color puncture, I try to make them aware that also what they intake from their food makes a difference how they feel later. So I try to, whatever direction they come from, to take them in the same place, which is basically what I'm learning works the best. Mm-hmm. Health is not a switch. As we were saying before, it's not a polarized yes or no. Are you healthy? Yes or no? No, it can be like a bit healthy or more healthy.
Yeah.
So my program, the program that I designed, really brings together the power of food. So from the inside, from the outside inward, and the power of colors and lights, which trigger the self-healing process from the inside outward. And then I use other elements and tools to augment the experience. For example, therapeutic essential oils, and I use nutrogenics. Fitness, obviously, everything that comes with movement and food, health coaching, but also other techniques. So it's been an incredible journey.
Yeah, and it's fun, like when you, because I'm familiar with most of the things that you're talking about, like essential oils. I think is another awesome. For some people, they like the physical, like a tactual thing. So like having an oil, right? But the oil can represent other areas of your life or areas that you want to work on and change. So I like that there's these representations, like these various representations, so that when you're working with somebody and they state what their goals are, these things can come in, and even though goals are an outcome that the person wants to get to, I think these approaches reminds us of the process. Reminds us that it's a process to get there, and you want to enjoy the process. So you engage in these things with the client. So, and part of their process, right, is even seeing a wellness practitioner. So they want to enjoy that process, and us as practitioners want to help them enjoy that process.
It doesn't have to be like a strict diet and a painful tissue massage. I mean, I think we're over the time where we were thinking of being healthy as suffering. Being healthy is actually going back to a lifestyle that fits our definition of pleasure and pleasure in life.
Well, I think that's also the transition toward the word wellness, right? Like using wellness more, or I think a lot of people would say, I'll speak for people here, that medical institutions are more about like treatment and pain management. So it's like, let's swing it back to prevention and swing it back to lifestyle and wellness and self-care, like all things that are definitely more approachable and more desirable for people to engage in order to maintain their health.
Absolutely.
And not only maintain it, to improve it. Because that's another thing too. I think part of the psychology is that when people have been in a more treatment mode or like a chronic illness mode, they're just happy for a baseline. So what we try to do is not only get people to maintain a baseline, but how do you go above the baseline? Like what things can you add into your life on a regular basis?
Yep. You want to feel extraordinary.
Yeah,
right?
That you're thriving.
Absolutely.
Rather
you
than
want to
surviving.
feel like that you're a superhero. And everyone should feel a superhero every day. There is no reason not to. We give ourselves a lot of excuses. We self-punish ourselves. We self-punish our own systems all the time just because we're not supposed to do that, we're not supposed to say that, we're not supposed to feel good, because if we feel too good, then we feel guilty. Why are we feeling too good? So there is a lot of psychology, there is a lot of things that we need to change ourselves in order to change our environment. And I'm a big believer, more than me, better than myself, that we are what we eat. But recently I came to the conclusion that that's not the whole truth. The truth is that we are what we feel, and we are our environment, and we are who we are surrounded by. And so, at the end of the day, it all starts from us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I it's funny when you say that, right? We are what we eat, and once again, like, it's not black or white. So we are what we eat, meaning you want to put the healthiest, most nutritious things in your body to help you be as vibrant as you possibly could be. But the interesting thing about the human body is we could put a lot of crappy things in our bodies and still function.
It works.
Because there are other aspects that can override that. But why not get all of those things in check and see how to maximize your health and maximize what you like, your energy, things that you can do, your outlook. Because right, you could still be very physically healthy, but what about your emotions or your thoughts? Some people don't have the cognitive self-awareness to catch certain negative thought patterns. So if that's not their go-to thing, working with somebody else, they could explore the other areas and then get to that layer and see how they all work together, rather than somebody just going to a cognitive behavioral therapist. It's like, that's not going to happen. Like, for a lot of people, they're not going to just say, oh, I'm instantly going to go to this person. They're going to go to something, they're going to be like, oh, colorpuncture, it sounds fun, let me try it. And then as they're doing that, you can segue to these other
exactly.
Areas.
And I think I think we with these new technologies, these new energy technologies that I know in New York are for sure in New York are taking over, and slowly all over the world. I know that suddenly the old times where you had to sit down with a psychotherapist was the only way to take your subconscious healing started. It's kind of like, not the only option anymore. There is a lot of energy works, including colorpuncture. They allow you to bring the subconscious within yourself, and it sounds very esoteric. But at the end of the day, as you said it before, if you have something poking you from the back, but you can't see it, it can stay there all your life, right? Mm-hmm. And so the options, if before were only psychotherapies or shrinks or some strong medicines, today there is more tools. We have more tools to bring the subconscious into full vision for you, right? Mm-hmm. And what I like about colorpuncture, along with other energy works, is that is non-verbal. Mm-hmm. Right? It comes from within, and you learn it, and you don't even have to share it with me. You're just like, oh wow, I just had an epiphany, mm-hmm. right? So it's powerful because suddenly we feel connected with everyone else without having to process with everyone else. So we can do kind of like a self-homework.
Yeah, and that also speaks to the individual as well. If they want to share, they can, but if not, not everybody has to articulate every feeling, but you want them to have those internal feelings,
knowledge,
and that internal feedback and knowledge that they can get.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
In a way, I'm sorry to. The last thought is that in a way, whether you process information from the inside out or from the outside in, it is about digesting. So when clients come to me with colorpuncture and they leave relieved or in a sense of like peace or groundness, I kind of feel like they digested some sort of information that they were like running wild in their system. So it's just an interesting thought to keep in mind. It is about information. It's about digesting this information, whether physically, on your stomach or in your head.
Yes. Yeah, I like using the word assimilation too, right?
Yes.
They digest, they assimilate,
Absolutely.
They process, all those good things that really, other people can facilitate it, but that is the personal work that all of us will do.
Absolutely.
Regarding any modality for any health reason that we have at a given time. So, but I just saw that we could start wrapping up, but I wanted to end on maybe a note that what's something that you noticed with a more common thing with clients that like maybe you can give a recommendation or something that an area that can be instantly helpful for people that would want to pursue the therapies that you offer? Like what's something that they could start doing on their own to get them ready for it?
I think it's important to open the eyes in the morning and take a moment to reflect on what is important to us. We rarely do that. We open our eyes and we check our emails, we check our Facebook, we go through our daily agenda, our worries, our fears, our doubts. But I found it really astonishingly useful to open my eyes in the morning and think, let me set these intentions straight for the day. What is really important for me? Is running all day not thinking about how I feel? Or is thinking all the time how I feel, checking very often, and then make decisions based on that throughout my day? I find that people that leave my studio, they kind of like go back to reconnecting to that thought, and to me, central to my practice is self-help, self-care. To me, the first thing I teach clients is self-care, because mm-hmm. the basis to all healing.
Yes. I know, self-care, and as practitioners, we need to be reminded of that for ourselves.
Continuously.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to look healthy, right?
And feel it. It's the feeling, right?
Is the
definitely.
feeling.
And then as you're feeling that, you could start sharing that with more people. So that's something that we're well aware of, and we'll continue to do. And we'll be hearing more from you, of course, because I want to do more with the modalities that you work with. And so thank you so much for being part of the wellb community. And you'll be able to book sessions with Mauro on the wellb app. So if you're interested in anything that we've talked about here, you know where to find him. Thank you so much, everybody, and we'll be talking to you more soon.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.